High train complete. Thank you for the subs and the bits, everybody. All right, looks like one card on the bottom for Yosef. Mishra's Bauble to start for Phil. Taking a look at the top.
Whatever that mystery card is. Okay.
All right, like the card on top, draws it. Hedge Maze, Surveil. Windswept Teeth into the graveyard. Camera gets bumped. Flood Strand gets cracked.
Cool if I shortcut? Yeah.
Island Cycling Lorien revealed. Island Cycling. I don't know what they were thinking with that mechanic. It's really ever since the Scourge set that Magic has been downhill. So Volcanic Island has been found. All right, Flood Strand, pass the turn. Kissmy says, is there a living end type of strategy in Legacy? Basically the answer is no, but there are a lot of reanimator decks not necessarily using the card reanimate.
You fetched once, right? I fetched one too.
But I think the answer to your question is no. That's a brainstorm getting fired off by Yosef now. Cascade cards, not really seeing a lot of play in Legacy these days. There's a Ponder for Yosef now. Yeah, occasionally you'll see Rhinos. Crashing Footfalls does see some play in Legacy. But in general, I think Cascade cards are pretty low in Legacy right now. There was like a time period. When was this? Within the past 2 years, where there was a lot of Cascade cards in Legacy. There was a whole deck with like Maelstrom Wanderer, and it was called a card called Creative Technique, and bunch of just a deck full of Cascaders, and then there was also Teamer Rhinos for a while as well. Players are just cantripping, setting up hands. That was a Shark Typhoon put into the graveyard by Phil. Mr. Arch hoping to see Shardless Bug good in Legacy once again.
Predict card myself.
Could happen.
Basic island.
Predict. Dumps the basic island. Phil draws a bunch of cards. Yosef's going to have a lot of disruption probably to fight through here. Looks like Phil's holding a counterbalance, thinking about deploying that. Yeah, Twitch chat tends to be rooting for Force of Phil most of the time. Predict put back on top by Mystic Sanctuary. Okay, there's Counterbalance. Phil knows about Cephalid Illusionist. So keeping a 2 on top for now. These players knew what each other were going to be on when they sat down. There's no mystery there. Mystery's Bauble. Take a look at the top card of Yosef's deck. I think it was a Narc Amoeba. Either way, Yosef is shuffling here. Mr. Arch says, I would be rooting for Phil if he wasn't constantly trying to get Urza Saga banned. You know what? Here's a meticulous archive. Yosef is surveilling. You know what? Yeah, Jerry is right. This is a very pro-Phil crowd. But when we make the legacy panel of experts, we're we're gonna be very careful about putting Force of Phil on there. That's for sure.
Who's that on slot? What? You're on.
You don't want Phil in charge of the ban list. There's Force of Phil, rooting for Yosef. Counterbalance on the table for Force of Phil. Some miracle stuff going on. Here's a ponder. Phil says, don't put me on the legacy panel. I'd make the format fun and healthy. Oh, boy. Don't fall for it, everybody.
All of his answers angels to get through whatever's in here.
Trigger.
There's Urza Saga. Comes in. Gets its first chapter counter. Yosef passes the turn. If you knew nothing, if you didn't know what Yosef was playing and never met Yosef before, you might think up until this point that maybe it was just Bant control, right? There's been nothing breakfasty happening so far. Yosef's been pretty damn good with this breakfast deck. I'm kind of curious how this game is going to play out. Eventually, if you're Yosef, you have to try to win the game. You can't just keep making land drops. Urza's Saga is going to be maybe a first attempt at that. Making some constructs, some threats for Force of Phil to deal with. Looks like Predict will be going back on top of the library with Mystic Sanctuary. Phil has plenty of cards.
What is going on, dude? I took your advice.
Urza Saga ticked up to 2. Phil can't figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I'm like, too many turns have gone on. I will pass.
All right, Yosef makes a construct. There it is. Draws for turn. Likely going to make another construct is my guess. Looks like Cephalid Illusionist is in hand for Yosef. There's a construct. Now we'll search. There's Shuko.
Just to see if I'm going to fetch. Sure.
Okay, Yosef, we're going to dig one more time with a Flooded Strand. Savannah. I think it's safe to say at this point in the game, Yosef's key spells are going to be really hard to resolve. And creatures are going to have a hard time sticking around on the board. So, I don't know. I feel like the advantage bar is to the right quite a bit right now. It may not be super obvious, but I think that's the situation we're dealing with. So the construct attacked equipped with Shuko. Phil doesn't seem to care. That's a Cavern of Souls. Well, Nadu might be in. Shuko is sorcery speed. Counterbalance trigger on the stack. Reveals swords. Okay. Yeah, it seems like Feeble saying that it seems like Yosef is setting up a turn where he can overload Counterbalance. Cavern of Souls kind of changed the situation, though. Now there's a Nadu on the stack. Equipping Nadu with Shuko, gets swords in response. We're going to see 2 Nadu triggers happen here. Memory's Journey was 1 card. Maybe a chance for Yosef to react to Swords of Plowshares, though. Nadu, obviously very powerful in this deck.
actually like this.
Technically, I think it's still equipped to the construct, but we're trying to equip Nadu, I guess. Force of Will on this swords. Well, the battle that we were hyping up for a couple of turns now is about to happen. A fight over a swords on Nadu. We've already had one Nadu trigger resolve and put Memory's Journey in hand. All right, Memory's Journey is pitched to the Force.
I'm going to predict target himself. Sure. Seems.
Okay, predict. Dump that Swords of Plowshares into the graveyard. Phil holding a whole bunch of blue cards. One of them looks like it's Force of Will. Fetching with a Flooded Strand now. Okay, so the Yu-Gi-Oh card is indicating a counterbalance trigger on Force of Will. Does Phil have a 5 in the yard? Ah, Lorien Revealed was in the yard. That's right. Okay. So Force of Will is countered. I was thinking there was no 5 in the yard. Swords eliminates Nadu. All right. There's another Nadu trigger. Scalding Tarn comes in. Force of Phil. That Mystic Sanctuary counterbalance combination can be pretty mean. Stop being so mean, Phil.
Predicting your end step. Target himself. And this.
All right, another predict gets fired off. Dump that Lorien Revealed back into the graveyard. There's a Ponder for Phil. So there's 2 constructs on the battlefield, which obviously can win the game if they're not dealt with. My guess is Phil will find a way to beat constructs. All right, Prismatic Ending on, I believe, Shuko. Yep, Shuko is hit. One moment, I gotta step away. Yep.
Full grip. Combat. Yep. 4. Time to cycle short card. For 2? No, actually would be 3. Sure. Block a construct. Force pitch counter. Cards. 3. Card. Force pitch to do. Damn! We knew that we would have to fight through everything. In my upkeep, predict myself. Island. Drop turn. Key? Yeah. Go ahead.
So it's a 1-1, right?
Yeah.
Good. I have a bit 6.
Two of them are lands that I know about.
You know about 2 6, right?
Both at the card. I would have a great draw last. I'm gonna move. Mother. Just got next one. Here's my cantrips. Ended up drawing the days just now. Make one blue.
Okay. Go.
Ready?
Exile, Counterbalance. Track of the types.
Come. Good.
Yeah. It's 2-3.
Currently a 3.
It's actually 6-5.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Exile,
Cycle.
card.
Of deep, yeah.
No, I've already drawn.
Okay. Yeah. 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good.
I'm gonna make this a 7. Exile, we'll take a key. 15. Good.
Target you.
Play a game with Sideboard?
Pass.
Fun. All right, sorry about that, everybody. Kind of doing multiple things today, and just had to handle something. So now I'm getting up to speed with this game. I think we're still in game 2. Has there been? Is this game 2 still? Looks like Yosef has 2 constructs. The DCI got me. Thanks for hanging out, people. Hope it was entertaining without me. Harry Houdini in the chat. Light Confidant in the chat. Dress down. That could be a way to beat the constructs.
Artifact. Oh no, 2. Instant artifact.
Dress Down still does the job against the Urza Saga constructs. Shuko on the board for Yosef. Could still see a fight in this game over the combo. It doesn't look like that's happened yet, as far as I can tell. Wasn't able to watch the beginning of this game.
That's alright. I had to turn. I had ritual, frame type. So I could have turned 1, then I was at 5, I was at 4. I went first one was like a Foxy's Lotus Petal ritual. Something after I got to try 6. 6 was no lands. 5 was late in the day. It was a good hand, but just only late in the day. And trolls was to get started.
So Phil with the altered duels. We see a lot of compliments on that. A lot of Phil's deck is altered. Phil's been collecting alters for a long time. Cycling Shark Typhoon, okay.
I'll move the discard.
Well, once Force of Phil moves to discard, you're in big trouble. Meticulous Archive, Serval. Most likely it's going to be really difficult for Yosef to break through this hand, but we'll see how this goes. We saw Cavern of Souls in Game 1. We saw a fight over Swords to Plowshares. We saw Counterbalance, which is not currently on the board, play an important role in Game 1. Six Sanctuary puts Predict back on top. Mill says, Phil inspired me to make my first Legacy deck be Miracles. That's awesome. That's awesome. A tough first deck to play for sure, but why not? Orim's Chant on the stack. All right, we're about to see a fight. Maybe. Force pitching Lorien revealed. Force pitching Brainstorm.
The Orim's Chant still on the stack. I'll think predict target.
Orim's Chant is still on the stack. Predict. Like Confidence says, DCI called me and let me know they took care of Chris. You're welcome, everyone. They're going to get me eventually. I've been on the run.
Force pitch a Shark Typhoon.
Force pitching Shark Typhoon. It looks like Orim's Chant is countered. Teferi Time Raveler. Okay. It's another nasty one. Brainstorm for Phil. Teferi Time Raveler is a big problem for Phil. Orim's Chant was not necessarily a bait, but a great start to the turn for Yosef. Got 2 Force of Wills out of Phil's hand. This is a battle. Argivian Fine targeting Shark Typhoon.
This only chunk
So Phil has a Shark Typhoon in hand. How is this going to play out? Obviously, it can cycle, make a shark, and attack Teferi, potentially. Phil drawing a lot of cards with Predict in this game.
I needed the doubt to get the final 3 points. And I was thinking when I collected the tally that the rest I should have streamed because then
Yeah, Phil in the chat pointing out that they would love a prismatic ending. Cycled the Shark Typhoon. Okay. Okay. Flooded Strand, pass. Teferi Time Rattler is going to be a pain in the butt. Teferi pluses. Nadu. Nadu trigger. Number 1. Cavern of Souls comes in. Name wizard. Nadu number 2 goes to hand. Alright, tapping 2 mana for a Narcomoeba. No more Nadu triggers happening. Hedge Maze, Surveil. Dumps a Nadu. And then a Ponder to hand. Alright. Shuko will cope itself back to Nadu, and then looks like Yosef has passed the turn. Not the worst. Phil does have an opportunity here to kill Nadu, but there's another one in hand. Might be more exciting to just get rid of Shuko for now. Mystic Sanctuary.
I kept before because of the
Drop on.
Okay, put Ponder back on top, draws it for turn. Fires it off. Yeah, that wasn't an amazing Nadu turn. It's not always like a game-ending thing, but next turn, Phil will be in trouble.
like Reanimator, Dredge, something like that.
Don't forget Teferi Time Rattler's on the table. Can't do a lot on Yosef's turn,
That's my opinion.
other than activate abilities.
I think for your deck, you want to bring this in against John, like emergent deck that, like they use their graveyard to beat you. Only their graveyard. The thing is, I play the so it can be a I'm trying this one. I'm not really like
Okay, going after Nadu. Nadu will trigger. Nomads and Core goes to hand. Combo pieces floating around. Can Phil get rid of Shuko? Doesn't look like that is a possibility in hand. Phil's going to scoop it up. We're going to game 3. The backup Nadu in hand was just going to be too much for Force of Phil. Game 3. All right, 1 card on the bottom for Phil. Turn 1, Ponder. Yeah, there was a backup Nadu in hand, so Phil scooped. Just going to slip away after that. It's a flooded strand getting cracked for Yosef. Yeah, I believe Phil's playmat is Chandalar map or Dominaria map. I'm not sure. Carpet of Flower is not too bad.
I'll make a blue. Brainstorm. Sure.
Okay, a brainstorm for Yosef. Making some mana with Carpet of Flowers. Carpet of Flowers still good in Legacy for sure. If game 1 and game 2 are going to be how games play out in this matchup, we're going to see a slow couple of turns until the players clash on the stack again. Phil kind of won that battle in game 1 and then lost it in game 2. Phil is the control deck. Breakfast, of course, is the combo. Here's Ponder. Players are going to be trying to figure out how they're going to break through the other's defenses, I guess. Phil will be trying to set up a win with Shark Typhoon, potentially. Voodoo wondering have we had any rogue decks running around the scene. Definitely check out our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We've had a lot of rogue decks running around the scene lately. Some major spice floating around. Okay, Phil looks for and finds a volcanic island sitting right on top.
And so.
I've done that before. And then I won the next turn and gave all the opponents
Carpet of Flowers might help Yosef jump ahead in mana. So Force of Phil's going to remove that now, a Prismatic Ending. I doubt Yosef will fight over this unless that mana is... Okay. Carpet of Flowers is gone. Didn't expect Yosef to protect that. Probably happy to get Prismatic Ending used up. Wasteland? Unexpected Wasteland. Takes out Tundra. I don't think we've seen Wasteland yet in this match, have we? Not that I saw anyway. I stepped away for a few. Okay, Hedge Maze, Cervelle. Cephalid Illusionist dumped into the graveyard. Interesting, interesting.
Circle around.
Cephalid Illusionist, a key card in this deck. Mix the combo with Nomads and Core and Shuko to mill the library, set up a Dread Return for Thassa's Oracle after some Narcomoebos come in.
Good.
Yeah, Miracles is a bit of a rogue deck right now, I would say.
Trigger himself. Yeah, correct. Bubble trigger.
Magic players, 6 minutes left in the round. 6 minutes.
6 minutes left in the round. You heard it. All right, Counterbalance. What does Yosef have to say about it? Tequilus Archive found with a fetch. Cervelle. Elvalon says, Miracle is easily my favorite mechanic in game. I am glad it's legacy playable. You know what? I'm not even going to do the thing where I say the miracle mechanic was a mistake. You enjoy it. It was a mistake. They made all these mistakes, chat.
Sure. So what do you? Yeah. I got
All right, counterbalance resolved. Yusuf is going to have to deal with it. Ponder reveals dress down on top, so Ponder resolves. Okay, chat, but which mechanic was the biggest mistake of all time? Delve.
My match that didn't even.
Max speed already? Max speed already got there?
Now that they can manually pair someone with the buy,
So Tail says trample.
it's a big improvement.
Cast the deuce.
Deduce, make a clue. Where's the Phil's been running Deduce in these decks?
Lagging every single action. I like it better than Arena.
Okay, Brainstorm revealed a Mystic Sanctuary on top, so Phil missing a little bit with counterbalance so far.
Pain lands correctly. Yeah, you have to turn
Joe says Dig Through Time could be 14 mana and be played. I don't know about that. That's a lot.
a dark section, a what's the black or the blue black river or something, and then a swamp. It'll always tap like
Cavernon Wizard, here is Nadu the bird.
in the pain land, even though I want to cast a blue thing after that, so I always have to manually tap.
Phil is holding a Power Blast, dress down.
Swords Nadu.
Okay, then a Swords on Nadu, so Nadu will not trigger here.
Oh, I tried, and that's what I've been getting.
Provoke and Plot being named by the chat as worst mechanics of all time. I don't even know if Legacy players know that Plot exists. They have no idea.
Go force.
All right, a Daze on the Pyroblast on Force of Will. Well, quite a battle happening here. Nadu survives.
Paper magic really lends well to the shirts. Like maybe if you're doing something like
Looks like Phil found a Force of Will and a Wasteland with Ponder. Not sure that's super interesting. Gonna shuffle. Phil has to beat a Nadu right now. It's on the table. The Yu-Gi-Oh card is a clue token.
Go.
Flooded Strand, pass. Okay.
Yep.
Hedge Maze surveils an island in the yard. Nadu attacks.
people's attention spans are.
Okay, Yosef just passes the turn. Phil might be catching a little bit of a break here. Mishra's Bauble target you.
Target.
Okay, Mystic Sanctuary puts Predict back on top. Phil will draw it. Harry Houdini has gifted a sub. 155 now on the channel for Harry, a pillar of our community. Thank you, Harry. Really appreciate it. Mystic Sanctuary again for Phil.
The thing every time is do something that you're willing to keep doing. Because if you keep doing the algorithm, burn yourself out, stop, well, complete, you just burn yourself out.
Pyroblast. Cycling Shark Typhoon. making a 4/4 shark. Okay. Okay. Block Nadu. Okay. Not too bad. So I don't really know Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so you'll have to excuse me. The blue Yu-Gi-Oh card is a clue. The other one is a 4/4 shark. Okay, this is now turn 1 of extra turns. Time was called. Teferi. Counterbalance trigger. Brainstorm revealed.
Sorry, let me just type. Yeah.
I understand there's some irony to it.
I'll come to Bar Blast.
Okay, so a force on Power Blast targeting Teferi on the stack.
All Pro Tours, all Worlds. And then, depending some other tournaments might get streamed, like if
Well, 2 blue for Authority's just counter, right? Just counter.
So like Star City did get rid of coverage for Star City.
Use my 2 floating.
But then it's being
Make a
filled
3/3.
with like
I'll just give it to you.
All right, Phil makes another shark with Shark Typhoon, and Yosef scoops it up. Force of Phil gets it. GG's. Force of Phil, everybody. Force of Phil comes in and miracles everything.